Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Welcome to Hong Kong Confidential. I'm Jules Hannaford and I'm your host. I'm an Australian woman and I've been living in Hong Kong for many years. I'm a mother, a teacher, an author, and I want to share my wisdom and the wisdom of others with you. Thanks for joining me and I hope you enjoy the show. Hi Confidants, I just want to tell you about a book that I've written called Fool Me Twice. It's my memoir and it's a story of how I was scammed and assaulted while online dating. It was a difficult book to write because I really had to overcome the shame of my choices. But I wanted to do it so that I could help other people not get caught in the same trap that I was. At the end of the book, there are a whole lot of suggestions of what people need to look out for and how they can date safely online. My book is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble online, and it's also in Hong Kong bookstores. Here is a promo for my book. I hope you enjoy it.
From life on a farm in rural Australia, where wide open spaces made a young woman yearn to know what was beyond her country town. She moved to the city, became a mother, and found her dream career which took her across the world. But still, something was missing. In her search for love, she traveled far, trusted deeply. She wanted so badly to find someone that she almost lost herself in the process and learned some hard lessons along the way. Fool Me Twice, a new memoir by Jules Hannaford. Available on Amazon.
Today I'm here with Lucy Chan, and she is the Learning and Development Director from the Golden Spaces in Singapore and Hong Kong. Hi, Lucy. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Jules. It's very nice to be here.
Exciting to have you here. You used to work in banking. How did you end up moving into the wellbeing space?
It's a very long story, one that started since I was a child, even way before banking. I've had incidences when I was young with seeing angels or even being able to hear the choir during some of our church camps. But somehow during my maybe early 20s, perhaps a lot of things were happening in my family and that affected me very negatively. Because of that, I kind of lost my sight, my heart, my feelings, ultimately my connection to the divine, regardless of the religion. And then I joined the bank way back when I was 25. And I was there for quite a number of years before I left. What triggered my leaving the bank was actually depression.
Did you suffer from depression during that time?
Yes, I did. About 3 years. Actually, what I realized after speaking to my counselor and speaking to my Master Umesh and Sky, my teacher, was that I was having depression pretty much ever since I was 19.
Oh, but you didn't realize.
Yeah, I was a highly functional, depressed person. I was really unhappy. That thing I know for sure. And I felt this void in my heart all the time. But something triggered my growth when I was 29. Something in my relationships went really bad. Because of that, I sought for help.
That was the first time that you sought help at around the age of 29, even though you hadn't been very happy since 19.
I used to go to church quite a lot every weekend. Besides church, when I was about 27 till I was 29, I was seeing a psychotherapist as well as counselor. Took a lot of Xanax and sleeping pills. That was how I faced 2 years of my life when I was 27 to 29.
Were you suffering from anxiety as well?
Mainly depression. Wasn't anxious as much, but very, very depressed, very unhappy. Felt like close to tears most of the time. My whole body was aching and it was just migraines. All kinds of
so you had a lot of symptoms, yeah.
Yes, but I didn't recognize at the time that it was that bad. By luck, by chance, I came across the Golden Space Malaysia 9 years ago now. And within a short span of 3 sessions, and I remember this so clearly, only 3 sessions, my depression was gone.
Tell me what the Golden Space is. What is it?
The Golden Space is a meditation and a healing center. It was founded in Singapore by my Master Umesh Nandwani, about 14 years ago. And about 10 and a half years ago, he opened a branch in Malaysia.
You discovered the Golden Spaces and you went there for support. And what sort of therapy did you have in those 3 sessions? What was it?
Quantum healing.
Oh, what is quantum healing? I've never heard that.
So unique.
Yeah, what is it?
My teacher right now, his name is Sky, like the sky. He somehow manages to harness this quantum frequency and he's able to pass that frequency to my mind. For example, he would just gently touch my head with maybe 3 fingers and then my mind would stop working for a while. And then instantly I would feel as though I'm going to faint. It's that kind of energy that helped me to realize, and through his coaching and his counseling, that I attracted a lot of these things in my life, all the things that hurt me. And each of them, when I went through them, it made me a lot better, made me happier and stronger.
You were able to let go of a lot of things where you had been affecting you in the past.
Everything. It's like an onion. When I teach emotion management and when we teach meditation, we're all like an onion. We just peel layers and layers away until we can reveal our soul, until we can reveal our heart. Even then, there are different onions for different topics. Your family, you have an onion. Our career, we have an onion.
Right.
And so on and
that
so
makes
forth.
sense. Yeah.
For example, like I would be really good in my career as a regional trainer and I would be really successful. Money-wise, I was fine as well. Family-wise, wasn't so bad after a while. Where I failed was in my relationships about 9 years ago.
Was that the trigger for your depression?
It was. It was me actually calling off a wedding 3 months before the wedding.
Oh, wow. How was that?
Traumatic.
I bet it was traumatic. You had to notify all the guests and cancel everything.
Yes, we cancelled everything.
Wow, that must have been very, very stressful.
It was at the time, but I was really blessed. I have really great parents. My parents love me so much and they said that it's okay if I wanted to call it off with my ex-fiancé because I'm probably too strong for him. It was not a really good mix. It's not a very good match like with me and my current fiancé. It's a different kind of level of understanding and match.
Right. You definitely did the right thing.
I did. And it was a good thing because he found someone that loved him for who he was.
Brilliant.
That's the best thing for me.
After this, you started this journey to transform your life and then you ended up working in Golden Spaces.
Mm-hmm.
What are you here in Hong Kong doing at the moment? I know you're here from Singapore. What are you doing here this week?
I'm actually doing a few things. The first thing is healing sessions. I call this heart alchemy. What I do in the process, well, I have a couple of appointments where clients come up to me with their symptoms. It could be insomnia, depression, MS, or even like a client who's having a kind of a block in his career. And they come and see me. I assess them through a conversation and through my psychic observation. After the conversation, I then work on their layers and pull out that blockage. One thing that I pride myself in a lot is to pull out the root cause. Because sometimes for me, we have many emotions like sadness or even simple things like injustice, equality, things like that. These kind of things that happen in our lives, our emotions, are actually caused by a root cause. My gift is finding root causes of all these emotions that eventually causes disease, whether physical or mental or emotional.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
And pulling that out.
Do you do that through conversation or do you touch the person or do you connect psychically or all of it?
All of it, all at the same time.
All at the same time?
All at the same time.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me about your psychic abilities. You mentioned hearing angels in the choir when you were little. Did you recognize when you were young that you had some psychic ability or did you understand that much later?
I had no idea I was psychic. I saw the good things as well as the not so good things. Every time I said something, my dad would say, shh, shh, because in Chinese, you're not supposed to say things in the Chinese culture, right? So I was taught not to mention things, even though I did see them.
When did you accept your gift? It was that when you had this transformation?
Yes. It took me about a year to really embrace it. Because when I opened back up this gift, even just after the 3 sessions, when my depression really lifted, I could feel a lot of things again. Like I could feel the energy of people. I could feel how stressed they are. I could feel how angry or how painful their aura is. I would immediately get affected. At that point, I was like, oh my God, that is too much.
Yeah. It could be very overwhelming.
It was overwhelming. It took me about a year to really accept and eventually embrace what I have.
Do you have control over it, or does it just happen?
I can manage my sensitivity to a certain extent in terms of seeing. I can just close and block it off for as long as I want to if I don't really want to see things. But I cannot block off my senses. I can block off my hearing, but I can't block off my physical senses. The pressure on my body or certain pains and headaches and, like how we walk into a place and we instantly feel that there's something wrong about the place. In that way, all of us are psychics. It's just that we're not sure and we haven't tapped into that power that we all innately have. Yeah, and some people you see that you like them and some people you don't. It's that resonance of energy that we all feel. We're all energy beings and therefore we're all psychics to a certain extent.
Do psychic readings, like specifically, or do you just use it as a part of your healing?
It's just used as part of my healing because I don't really particularly like doing reading. It's just a very small part of a spiritual context because we want to know more after reading. Sometimes knowing is not enough. We have to decide at that point in time, what do we do? What actions should I take? What emotional actions I should take? Should I forgive? Should I let go? A lot of us hold on to these things for years, decades, lifetimes sometimes. And you talk about past lives. It could be multiple lifetimes to the extent of how we just hold on to these kind of belief patterns. For me, I prefer a one-to-one healing session because then that allows my client to move forward faster than just a reading.
What would a one-to-one healing session look like? What would you do? How would it work?
Well, the first thing is I'll make the client very comfortable. We'll talk a little bit. We'll chat about things. And then I'll ask them what they want to overcome at this point. I'll explain to them my therapy and my skills and what I can do to help them. But there are a couple of terms and conditions. The first one is that they have to be completely honest to themselves, not to me, to themselves, how they feel and what they're going through. A lot of us mask our emotions and even ignore our own feelings, and that's not healthy. And so I tell them, first thing, be honest to yourself. Secondly, open up your heart to the process and just go with the flow. As long as you want to overcome something, you can and you will. For me, it may take an hour and 15 minutes, maybe. But at the end of the day, and there's kind of like a guarantee, almost a 99% of success rate so far, is that everyone comes out changed.
Wow,
everyone.
That's amazing, do they? Wow.
Yeah. And they say like certain blocks that they've had towards their parents or their father or whoever or relationship. After that 1 hour, they're like, oh my God, I'm able to forgive. You're done.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And we can move on to other things in my life. That's just one part and one segment of who we are. There are multiple segments. After that, they will realize the next day that their whole body will be aching. They'll be in a lot of pain. They've gone to the gym for 3 hours or they've been hit by a bus. That's what I've always been told. Feel like, oh my God, I can't move. And they have to take a sick day off.
What else are you doing here in Hong Kong? You're doing your healing sessions.
Yes.
What else are you doing?
I'm also running a workshop called The Art of Self-Love. It's a 4-hour workshop, men and women alike. A lot of magazines, newspapers, articles, websites. Everyone is talking about self-love. And it's a long journey. I admit it's a really long journey, even for myself. But no one really tells us how to do it. It's not just going to have a spa day. It's not just going for a makeup or a hair day. It's way more than buying nice things or living in a nice place. Although those things are important, but it's not everything.
That makes sense.
End of the day, they will still feel that something's missing. Even if we have everything material surrounding us that's beautiful, that is perfect, that is complete in a word. But inside of us, maybe we feel that there's still a gap. There's a lack of self-acceptance. There's a lack of self-embracement. There's a lack of understanding ourselves and our body. And even to the extent of connecting with our soul. That's really what I do in the art of self-love.
How do you help people to find self-love then? What do you actually do? Is it through things like meditation and group work and self-exploration and stuff like that?
A lot more self-exploration and meditation. There'll be a bit of teaching, a bit of what I share with them about our body. First, how are we loving our body? Do we accept ourselves as we are in our body? Our body stores a lot of emotions and sometimes we get ill. We fall ill or have a terminal disease. And understanding the body and accepting ourselves. So I guide them towards a meditation to feel and connect with every single cell in our body. What is our body trying to tell us? What are we listening? Are we loving ourselves the way that we should? We're all born to be, or what? Or not, perhaps. And after that, we do a lot of sharing. And I really love it when my students share openly in the class, because it's still the four walls. It's a private, and confidential thing. Because when someone shares, another student may benefit from it because they're, oh my God.
I feel the same, yeah. Or I can learn from that.
And I just didn't realize it. Thank you for sharing that. That's how we learn together as well as a group learning. After the body, we go with our emotions. What are the common emotions we feel in our family and in our relationship and career? We do meditations that will dissect how we feel in every major part of our lives. Then letting them go. I teach them in the process the art of letting go and how to work through our negative emotions. Finally, we connect with our soul. Some people call it your higher self, your soul. Doesn't matter. We're all light and love. And so how do we connect with the part of us that is eternal and really reestablish that connection? Have that connection stay with us. Because through our lives, working and chasing after material things, and living in a very compressed, stressed environment, for example, like Hong Kong, Singapore, it's all work and stress. We lose touch and fulfillment with our soul. So a lot of people get depressed. It's because we lose connection with our hearts. And that's why we get depressed. And I realized this way after 10 years of depression.
That's so interesting. It sounds amazing. It sounds like a wonderful course.
Yeah, it is.
Is there anything else you're doing while you're in Hong Kong, or is that it? The art of self-love and healing?
Well, this is more like, I would say, like my hobby. It's something I'm really gifted in is the meditation and the emotional work with self and the soul and the body, a lot of body work. So that's my hobby. My real day job, like my title, is a learning and development director. That means going to corporates and going to offices where I run meditation classes, stress management classes.
Oh, that's great.
For the
corporations are realizing that they need to do something to help the well-being of the people that work for them.
Like Google, SIY, search inside yourself.
It's so important, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's great.
But inculcating a more mindful habit so that we can create a harmonious working space. And if our employees, our team members are motivated and they are happy and peaceful, and the team is working in harmony and strategic and successful in all ways, they will stay with you. See, a lot of problems that companies face are like retention, medical leaves, poor performance, things like that. People issues.
And they realize that if they look after their employees, their productivity of their company is going to increase and everything's going to be better for everybody.
It improves astronomically. No joke about it. I had a corporate client that hired me back in Malaysia. He wanted me to coach his sales leaders. So one lady, she was only making, just figuratively, for example, 8,000, right? She's been there for about a year and she's not being fired. I was quite surprised that she was still in the company. I was like, oh, you really love and care for your employees. That's a good thing. So I spoke with the boss. After I did like 4 sessions with her, 4 private sessions on coaching for success, her sales jumped up to about 56,000.
Wow.
So I remember it was 10 complete sessions. So it's 1 full cycle, almost a year. Her sales jumped from 8,000 in the first month to 165,000 when I left.
That's phenomenal. Wow. Oh my gosh.
It's just how we feel about things. And so I just fix them, align them towards letting go all that emotions and judgments about the products, about the clients, about the company, and breaking through their fears about sales, the fear about money. It's so weird. Even the fear of getting rich and be successful. So we all have different kinds of blocks. That was a case study. That was really unique and really quickly as well.
Oh,
10
that's
sessions.
so interesting. You talk about on your website, you do a program called Awakening the Divine in You program. What is that? Is that about the connection to the soul?
It's deeper than that.
Oh, tell me.
Well, it's not run by me. It's only run by my master, Master Umesh Nandwani. He's been meditating and having this, I don't know what you call this, expanded consciousness, a cosmic consciousness for the past 16 to 18 years, if I'm not mistaken. He had like a near-death experience 3 times in his life. And in 3 times, he was pulled back when he was in heaven. And so he's had so many miracles happen to him as well, miraculously healing his body when he came back from...
He's using that experience.
Correct. And when he started the Golden Space in Singapore first, that was 14 years ago, he started the Awaken the Divine You program. And that was really a self-realization program. Ultimately, it starts with just a very simple 7 days meditation, very simple 7 days meditation to realize who we are. Very gentle one to let go of our human blocks, our security issues, our fears, our self-confidence and self-worth issues. Then he moves us forward into different retreats after that to Nepal and then to India, to Bandung or Bali, to Phuket, to Hawaii, then to Peru, Chile, Greece, Egypt, Scotland and Ireland.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, and now the next one next year will be Mount Shasta. So I finished everything with him.
Have you done all of this?
I've done everything.
Oh my gosh, how did that transform your life? How did that change your nature or your personality, do you think?
Complete shift. I used to be I hate to say the word, but a really bitchy person in office, in life. I was very harsh. I used to be angry all the time. And even after starting meditation, just meditation or that quantum session with Sky, I would still get upset. Don't get me wrong. I was still a very angry person. But from having that full negative experience and not knowing where I'm supposed to be in my life and not having that life purpose, like I know I'm meant to do something, but I'm not sure what it is. Through this process of the past almost 9 years now with my master, he's taken me from that angry, judgmental woman into someone who is loving and someone who's open-hearted. I'm super patient now and I go with the flow. I no longer control things. And I used to be a control freak. So I stopped controlling most things. I accept people as they are. And people in office used to call me Angry Bird.
Did they?
They did.
Oh my gosh, you seem so far from that.
I know.
You seem so warm and lovely and happy and
peaceful.
Peaceful,
and open-hearted. And so one thing that I got was that I became a complete different person. Even my family, like my parents, they became more peaceful and I stopped hearing arguments at home. And the shift can be as big as the community. Like the place where I used to live had no animals, no birds, no cats. And now it's filled with cats, like so many stray cats. Because it's one of my hobbies is also to care and give all animals that love and food and care for them, right? Awaken the Divine You helped me to even open this part of myself, this caring, compassionate being that I thought I was never this person. You know, I was never this person my whole life.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And my master took it out and I found my life purpose. That's why I quit the bank.
Now you're doing what you love.
I know, and shifting people.
Oh, I wanted to ask you about the Phoenix Healing Program. What's that?
Oh, that is one of my most favorite meditation workshops to do cosmically. I'm going to talk about the universe and how it works. The star Sirius, Sirius, the canine, the dog. The star Sirius has a lot of purity and fire. The ancient civilizations, we built a lot of our architecture and our buildings based on the design of the Sirius and to channel the star Sirius, that fire, down into earth. And one of those civilizations is Egypt, right? And so all over the ages, and as far as I was able to channel and to understand, was that in every age, in every generation, they have a few phoenixes in every country to anchor the light of the blue star. And those keepers of that fire, that sacred flame, hold a tremendous amount of fire and power and strength and energy to break through anything. Because metaphorically, the phoenix is a being that never dies, that is eternal, right? And from the ashes of the phoenix, a new phoenix arises. And so the metaphor in the energy work that I do is that from the death of your old self, you will emerge as a new being. In the process of doing it, I just ran one in Indonesia, in Jakarta, last Wednesday. It was about 7 days ago. I had about 28 people in my class. As I was channeling it, the process requires me to let go 100%. So I would not be conscious most of the time. And I would be channeling the pure force of the phoenix, embodying it first within me. My words would change. My voice would change. Everything I would do, I'm not aware of and I'm not in control. So my participants, my students, after the class, when they were sharing, a couple of sharings that I would share is that the first lady told me that even after all the workshops and retreats that she's gone to, she has never cried this much. She has never changed this much in a 1 hour meditation. The impact is instantaneous.
Wow. So she had a huge release.
Huge. And she was crying for like a day, I think, after that. And another lady, another practitioner who was in my class, she said halfway through my class, her eyes couldn't close. She had to open it. Like there was a calling to open her eyes. And when she looked up to the ceiling, she saw this flame, like this burning light, golden fire that was rushing down towards her with her eyes open, completely went into her being. And she felt literally, in her own words, the grace of the universe. A lot of them mentioned my voice changed, my energy changed, and I'm not the normal me. I become in literal sense a phoenix so that I can assist to be a medium to my classmates, to my students, my friends, my family, to help them die so that they can be reborn in a way their old self burns away and in the process become a new person.
Oh, which is what happened to you through the process. Do you do any work with past lives?
Yes.
What sort of work do you do in this arena?
I call it Akashic Records healing. It's slightly different than psychiatrist past life regression or hypnosis. Slightly different in that sense where I would be in it with you. So I'm diving it with you and it's more energy centric. I'll be diving into you, with you, into your consciousness. And I would be sinking myself into your DNA because all our memories of all our past lives is inside every DNA, every strand of DNA, every wisdom, every power, every skill, every trauma, and every emotion.
With the past life work, can you go back into past lives and heal stuff that happened back there, which can then impact the person in their life today?
Yes, definitely, 100%. Because I am a very clear example of that. My life, even after I cleared away and let go all of my current life's trauma and all my current life's belief patterns and emotional patterns, there was like a gear that was stuck and I couldn't unlock it. For example, a certain fear. Or many years ago in 2013, even after I awakened the divine you and after doing all this work on myself and in the program, I still felt like my heart couldn't open. And I was like, why? Why can't my heart open? I've been doing this for 3 years. Why can't I open my heart and be vulnerable to people? That night, I went deep into my past life and I found out why.
What did you discover?
I discovered that I had a life in Mexico around the Aztec time. And I remember at the time, I have to be very honest, I was lying on my bedroom floor, stark naked. And I had to because my heart was telling me, go naked. I was like, okay, so weird. I never go naked in a past life regression. I had to do it on the floor. As soon as I went in, which for me is pretty quick, about 30 seconds, suddenly I felt my arms and my legs were like tied to the side, like open, like spread eagle. And I couldn't physically move my hands and my legs. They were bound. I completely lost sense of this life of 2013, of me being Lucy. I completely lost track of who I am. I became who I was. And I saw it was at night. I saw the stars above me. I remember being so fearful, and a fire was burning, a torch. And this shaman, this priest comes to me. Then he took a knife, a curved knife, and he cut open my chest. And I could feel it in this life. My body felt it. I felt the knife go deep in, cracking open my rib cage, and I felt him reach his hand into my chest cavity and pull my heart.
That sounds scary.
And at that point, that's why I never do a past life regression on your own unless you have a very smart body. I'm quite experienced in past life, so I'm okay, right? And so he put his hand around my heart and he was about to pull. And the pain was very intense. But at that time, my body being the intelligent body that I have and I am, the vision stopped instantly. And I couldn't go back in. And I remember crying and I was sweating and I was screaming in my room and I didn't know why. I could have died that night. I could have died had my body not saved me, had my work with my spirituality and my body saved and opening up the wisdom in my body. So my body stopped that vision from happening, because if I had continued in that vision in my past life regression, I would have died. And after that day, I realized, and I opened that part, and I started healing all that past lives where I was sacrificed or I was killed in the name of the light, in the name of fighting for God. I had to heal all of that memories in my body one by one until I was able to open up my heart again.
So is that a way of removing emotional blocks?
Yes.
Sort of awakening your consciousness?
Correct. Because we're not conscious about what's beneath our conscious mind. At most, we're only, 10, 15% conscious of our thoughts. We're about 80% unconscious and subconscious energy, belief patterns. And so in a past life regression, everyone will be able to understand why they are the way they are and how they can set themselves free in this life.
Do you have a favorite healing method that you tend to use?
Not really. I go with the flow most of the time. That's why it's called an alchemy, a heart healing alchemy, because I don't just use one method. I combine everything that I have learned in the past 9 years. And even then before that, my angelic connection. I combine all the higher self energy with the soul energy, with the Akashic records, with the crystal cave, with your DNA, with your emotions, with your energy. And it's all kind of combined into one very beautiful dish.
Package.
Yeah, a dish called healing. That's what it is. And so I just channel what I need to channel.
You just follow your instincts at the time.
Exactly. I would go with the flow. If I receive certain messages, then I would help my client or my student to just tune into that frequency and then just open up whatever they're feeling.
Yeah. Do you use Reiki?
I sometimes use it. It's a very gentle healing. That's really more for a gentle relaxation class or someone who has a pain in the back, for example, or the neck. Sometimes for that very simple things, I would use Reiki for it. But for more hardcore issues, I call it hardcore issues, then I would be using a mixture of sometimes even body work, because I've learned Chinese medicine through my godfather, who's a Chinese doctor. I combine it with my understanding of body and how I've healed myself of cancer, instant remission.
You did? Did you have cancer?
Yes, I did when I was 19.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah,
and how did you heal yourself?
Prayer. Prayer. Literally just praying. And I remember this because I still am quite a staunch Catholic. I remember using the rosary for quite a lot of times because I was asking for healing for quite a while, but it was not happening. And I was getting to the point of being very depressed. like survival. I'm not sure. Like I was about to die, that kind of instinct that, and I was being pushed to the corner to face my mortality. At that point, I remember that day when I was 19, I was kneeling down at the side of the bed with the rosary, and I was beginning to get into this trance. And I remember vaguely, and this is the thing, I can't remember how I did it. I remember getting into the flow and surrendering because I was pushed to the corner and I had no control over my body. And it was an ultimate surrender of who I am, who I was, and who I will be, and letting whatever will be happen. I remember having this strong feeling inside my heart and still doing the rosary, and my eyes were closed, like I am now. And I was getting into it. And I felt so much love and understanding. And at that moment, it was like I reached a peak, like a high. And then suddenly again, just like how my practitioner said in the Phoenix, she saw this flame. I saw this flame, like this golden flaming white light with my eyes closed. I could see it and it rushed right through me from my crown. And it burned everything, like it just flashed right through to my toes. And I fainted.
Wow.
I instantly fainted. I couldn't take it. The energy was too strong. And I thought I was dreaming, and I thought that I was confused or hallucinating. And I was like, okay, time to shower. And so I got up and I went for a shower. I went for my second or third opinion. And the doctor told me, I don't see anything. Are you sure? And I was like, yes, based on this report. And the doctor was like, but there's nothing.
Oh, so you were healed.
You're clean. There's no growth.
How did that feel?
I was like stunned. I was like, no way. No way. I thought there must be a mistake, but he said, no, honey, there's no mistake. And he did all the scans he could do, and there was nothing. And so I believe that I'm loved and I'm protected all the time. The universe is with us all the time. And that's who we are ultimately, Jules said. We are pure and without all this brain and all this doubt and mind chatter. By nature, by us being born, we are naturally light. We are naturally loving and peaceful and healthy. It's only with this life and all our implants and imprints and experiences in this life that compresses us and shuts out our light in a way and makes us feel small. So I believe that in our natural state of being, we are not this small. We are huge and magnificent and a part of the universe. And so that's what Awaken the Divine You has brought me to realize that I have the same light inside of my heart, inside of my every cell that helps me and helps people around me, and anchoring this light into Gaia. And this is what I'm supposed to do. This is my life purpose.
Yeah, I can tell. And you're so passionate about it. It's amazing. What role do you think meditation can play in someone's life?
It can play a very small role up till a huge role. It depends.
Yeah, depends on how much you put into it, but you can get a lot out of it.
Yeah, how much they want to. What I realize is a lot of people, they want to try, but not many have the dedication to see it through, because they will try a few times and then they will give up or life takes over. But if done well at home, and if they can take everything that we or I will be sharing with them, or the center will be sharing with them, they can take everything that we've taught them and to completely transform their lives, to even teach their children meditation. Like some of our students, our senior students, the children meditate together. Their parents eventually meditate and even join the program at 70. Our oldest student is 80 years old in Malaysia. Uncle, I call him Uncle. Uncle is amazing. And they travel around the world meditating. It's insane. 80, he and his wife. So auntie and the uncle are doing it at 77 and 80.
That's amazing. Oh, isn't that great? Yeah. It must feel so rewarding to make a difference to so many people's lives and to see them really change and come out of sessions with you completely different to when they came in. Do you love it?
I love it. This is why I do what I do. And even if it's a small change, even if it's a 5% change, it's still a 5% change. And my goal is just to have everyone live a very happy life, as happy as they could be, and to be the best that they can be for themselves and for their family and the people around them. This earth, looking at Gaia right now and the state that she's in with all the things that's happening all around the world, the war, famine, even the plastic pollution and everything else, we're not doing enough for her. By sharing this meditation, what we realize at the end of the day, we even open up our hearts to Gaia herself by anchoring the lights in our own hearts. We anchor the light into her, and then people will slowly shift. That's my goal, and to even shift Gaia. And now you can even see it, like this vegan movement is moving, going green, replanting trees, living happy, being spiritual, being kind to each other. Slowly but surely, all and even the podcast, like what you're doing now, spirituality, well-being, is just a part of our lives. It's not just segmented and boxed off into a 5% that we do at home every day. No, if we do it right, this 5% to spirituality, this part can expand into all areas of our life.
It can become a way of life.
Exactly. It's just kindness and love, ultimately. And we become more successful and richer, actually.
Both emotionally and materialistically.
So many people that one day you can meet. Like I have a managing director in Indonesia that turned millionaire overnight after she joined a course. Overnight. It's just a wonder how when we shift our vibrations and we vibrate higher and connect to who we really are, our lives change.
What advice would you give to any of the listeners out there who want to make this shift and this change? What practical tips can you give them to do something for themselves if they can't connect with you or with sort of some spiritual teacher?
For me, it always starts with awareness first. Set aside some time. You may not like the word meditation. You may not want to meditate, but you can start reflecting on it. So for example, take maybe just half an hour once a week or 15 minutes every day and reflect upon your life. Perhaps how your experiences have been in relationships, perhaps your career. And then going back in time, how have these things affected you? And how have you changed? And how have you become perhaps more judgmental or negative? And that's it. That's the first step, is awareness. After awareness, if you so choose to do something about it, now that's a choice. No one can make you. No one can force you except yourself. Do not underestimate the power of choice. So the second stage would be choose to change one thing, one pattern that you've realized over that journaling period. Making that change permanent over, if you don't like meditation, then learning to breathe out your anger or going to nature, or perhaps if someone has triggered you lately, instead of reacting to the person, decide to just sit in the shoes of the other person, be in the shoes of the other person and see from their perspective and start from there to be kind to that person. So those two things should change your life.
Really good advice. Yeah, that's great advice. Lucy, would you be able to do a little small healing session on me now, live on the podcast? It might be a nice thing to do for the listeners.
Okay, sure.
What do you normally do?
You just sit.
Okay.
You just have to first relax with your eyes open first and just calm down. Do you know which area you want to work with?
I think I must have a block in relationships. I've been single for many, many years and it's been very, very hard to find love. In fact, I've probably never had anybody love me in my life.
Oh, okay.
So I think that would be an area that I'd really like to work on.
Okay, right. Let me just share with you how it works.
Okay.
Sometimes when we're not able to manifest or attract the right person right now, it's normally because we're not in the right heart frequency. The heart being the biggest contributor to our energy field. Yeah. And so perhaps, I'm just suggesting this, perhaps were there a relationship that you got really burned or you got hurt? That's one in the past. And how long ago was that? And the details, you need to feel it through. So you're going to have to really go back and feel all the things. And that's one of my prerequisites, is that you need to feel as well. this emotions that's blocked inside of you is still this pain, this hurt that I can feel in my body, my chest right now. This is the part that is blocking your heart. That's the first thing.
I was in 2 domestic violent relationships in my 20s.
Okay. Were you married at the time?
One was a marriage, one I lived with him.
Did you learn to not trust men?
Maybe, but I don't think so. Maybe on a subconscious level. I don't know, but I since have picked anyone I've been with or dated since has been a disaster in different ways.
But not violence, right?
Yes. So still I've had some violence, a small amount.
Okay. It could be true. Even aggression.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Maybe not
yes.
physically, but emotionally and verbally.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens in this case is that it's instilled a kind of block in your heart because it's a seed. It's a seed of violence that you have in your heart, in your soul, actually stuck here that I can feel in your heart chakra, your solar, here in this space in between. There's like a gap. If I were to press you, you could probably be in pain. Okay. And that emotion is trapped there. So later I'll move on to you and I'll press that part and I'll work with you. So you need to allow me to work with you. You're going to have to revisit all these. And I know it's a bit traumatic and you might tear, and that's okay. Because if you don't tear, then, you can't heal sometimes, right? It's also created a block all the way to your back as well. Perhaps you feel some tension in your back for some middle and upper back pain.
Definitely.
I can feel it.
I do have back pain for sure.
Yeah, because I can feel it as I'm connecting to you.
Oh, wow. That's freaky.
I can feel that. It's not just a thorn. It's not just like a seed. It's like a stake. Like the vampire stake. It's as big as that. It's like this long. And that's wedged the space in your heart. And it's really quite painful for you because it goes all the way to the back, right? Few layers first. So the first layer that I can help you with is to release that layer. That is the easiest way first to remove that blockage.
Okay. How do you do that?
I will have to come to you later.
Mm-hmm.
I will have to touch your back with my hands because I will then use a lot of energy to penetrate your cells.
Okay.
As well, put my fingers on your heart chakra and perhaps even your solar and press in. So you might feel pain and that's good.
Okay. All right. Let's do it. Come over and I don't know that I'll cry. It was such a long time ago and I feel a bit numb to it all.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
okay.
But bring me the tissues. You never know.
Oh, I can keep it here?
No. Bring them over. You never know. But I'll be surprised if I cry.
Okay. Then after this, I need you to do something for me.
Yes.
I need you to do a deep breathing. And this breathing must be very deep as though your heart chakra is breathing. So you're going to breathe in through your heart and you're going to breathe out loudly through your heart.
Okay.
Louder than that. I need you to be strong.
Okay.
Could you do that stronger? Try again. So later, it's as though you're going to visualize that fear, that trauma that has made you feeling numb has blocked your heart. It's like a shadow. It's that dark, sticky thing, right? Black. You're going to have to breathe in deep later. And when you breathe out, you're going to breathe in, hook onto that dark, sticky stuff, and you're going to breathe it out.
Okay.
Not to say you don't want it. There's a mindset and the heart set you have to come with it that you actually did attract all these men to hurt you because you needed to learn to love yourself. Because if you love yourself, you won't put yourself in any of these situations. You would walk away.
Yes.
Instantly. Because you have that love. But because that time when we were young, we don't really know what love is. And to attract it that early in life, then that creates a seed, a thorn, a stake that's living with you. You're going to have to breathe in deep later and just breathe out deep.
Got it.
Could you do that?
Yes, I can. All right. Cool. Okay.
Would you mind that I play some music in the background?
No, please do.
Okay.
That'd be great.
So the topic of today is your relationship. Just take 3 very beautiful deep breaths in. Deep into your belly and out. Last one. And out. Good. We are more than just our mind. We are also our heart, our soul, and our body. See your brain like a very big, heavy, dark rock sitting inside your head, and you can feel the weight of it. A lot of belief patterns. And your heart chakra, your heart, and the center of your chest is like a very clear, calm lake. A very deep, calm lake, clear. Feel the contrast between your brain and your heart. When I count down from 5 to 1, we are going to drop this big dark rock into your clear lake of your heart. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let your brain go down the lake. Let it go deeper and deeper, allowing the rock to go all the way down until it reaches the bottom of the lake. There's a wall around you actually. I'm not sure if you can feel that wall. In fact, it's more than one wall. I can feel like 3 walls around your body and around your heart, kind of like a protection. Some of it is very thick. Can you feel the walls, Jules? Very good. Each of these walls no longer serve you. Before we can begin in any session, from your heart space, decide with all your heart to let all of these walls go. Just decide that these walls have to go today. Let us start with the outside wall. The first wall. Now I want you to feel the texture of it. Decide to break it with me. And I want you to take a very deep breath in, Jules. And I want you to hold your breath as long as you can. Hold, 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 hold. In 3, 2, 1, break it. Very good. Now feel the second wall. Can feel it around you. A bit sticky, a bit elastic. This wall has stopped you from opening up your heart. Decide again to want to break this. So take a very beautiful deep breath in again, Jules. And hold this hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And now your last wall. And this wall was built not once, not twice, but But over many, many years, more than 20 years, because this wall has kept you safe, kept your heart out of it, so you won't get hurt. I want you to know and decide, if you take down this wall is going to be gone permanently. Means that you're going to put your heart out there and be vulnerable to anyone and everyone, and to wear your heart on your sleeve again, and to open your heart to believe that it's safe to love, and be willing for people to hurt you. So anyone can hurt you. Just feel this last wall. Or you feel the tension in your body. Just by feeling this wall, you'll feel this tension around this part, this band around your chest, all over you. But you are so strong, so you can break it if you want to. You can do anything you want to. So take a very strong, deep breath. And it's time for you to hold this for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let it out. Now I can begin. For this was very hard to start. There was an energy block, so I couldn't get in. I just want you to feel your heart for a while. Kinds of feel a bit free, isn't it? And now we're getting started. And from the space in your heart, Jules, just tell your body, tell all your cells, tell your mind, tell your heart. Just say in your heart quietly, dear body, please work with me. Please help me to let go of all that I don't need, so that I can heal my heart again, so that I can learn to love. Show me what I need to know, and open up all the old information that has remained dormant. And just feel your body respond, kind of like a tingle in your cells. And now tell your soul, you're not just your mind, Jules, your soul. Dear soul, please help me. Just help me. And so I want you, Jules, to right now remember back the first 2 relationships you've had. I want you to remember their names. I want you to remember how you used to love them, and how when you were young, you gave your heart. You gave all of your heart, and they used it against you. And they promised to love you and protect you. But instead, they hurt you. And actually the emotion stuck inside of you is disappointment. Disappointed that how can love be like this? So see your first husband clearly right in front of you. I want you to open up your heart, the front of your heart, like a beautiful lotus flower, and feel all the thick black goo that is stuck in your heart with your first husband. And you can feel it stuck in your stomach and your heart. And just, I want you to breathe in and out loudly. Let it go, let it go. Breathing in, pull that thing out. Very good. Letting all the hurt go, the past go, the burden go. And beautiful white light, strong beam of light, showering into your body, washing away all that is old. And lastly, put some gratitude back into you for holding yourself till now, for being brave even till now to love. And just set another beautiful intention before we come back. And just tell yourself, tell your soul, speak to your soul that you'll do whatever it takes to fully open your heart again to yourself and then to love. Because if we can't love ourselves, we can't love others. And take that 3 breaths to come back. And that's it. And slowly come back.
Wow. Thank you. Wow, I feel really peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
When you told me about the white light, I could see it around me for sure. But that was cool. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that was really nice. And you know what? For my listeners out there, anybody with a broken heart or has a blockage in their relationship chakra or their heart chakra, you can do that with us.
Yeah.
You can just go through that with us, listen to what Lucy's saying. I'm sure they've already done it and we're at the end and I'm telling them. So I hope that you did do that with us and that you really do feel peaceful and connected to yourself and full of self-love and open to the possibility of finding love again, because I feel like that. So thank you so much, Lucy. That was really, really such a cool thing to do on a live podcast.
Thank you, Jules. Thank you for having me. You know, this method is how I manifested my current fiance.
Oh my gosh.
I'm getting married in 2 weeks.
Congratulations. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. That was really cool. Like, I feel very different before you started that. And I have to ask, did you get any psychic feelings or thoughts during that?
It's just the physical pain that I sensed more of it. I sensed that you're going to need to delve into your soul more. So your soul was crying out for you just now.
Okay.
We call it your inner child or your soul. Well, not you really, but your soul has been longing to come back into contact with you and to love you. You know how I manifested my current fiance is that I loved my soul so much and my soul loved me so much, and that we are so complete regardless. And I instantly decided what is it that I needed, not what I wanted in a man. I had 2 things that I needed, only 2. I have a very small list. The first list, number 1, is how does it feel to be loved unconditionally and to love him in that way too?
I'm still waiting for that. I have it with my daughter, but yeah, I don't think I've ever had it with a partner. And go on, the second thing.
And the second thing is how does it feel like to be cared for and supported? Because right before my current fiance, I was in a very aggressive relationship as well. He verbally abused me, emotionally abused me, and was a narcissist. My self-worth dwindled to nothing.
That's what can happen in those situations when you're being gaslighted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was in it for 6 years. I was in it for 6 years.
Wow.
And the beginning of my spiritual things and up till midpoint, I just decided I think enough is enough. And I got out. And
good for you.
I know. And I learned to love myself so much. Took a period of time to heal myself. After I got my list of the 2 things, I made a wish in my fairy garden in Cornwall, England. In 2 days' time, I met my husband-to-be.
All right. That's awesome.
2 days.
Oh, wonderful. Congratulations. Lucy, if my listeners out there want to get in touch with you, how can they do that? How can they find you?
You can find us on our website. For Hong Kong, it would be www.the Golden, GOLDEN, space, space.com.hk. So that's the goldenspace.com.hk. Or I'm actually based in Malaysia. So you can also Google me in Malaysia, the goldenspace.com.my.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Lucy, thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing all your wisdom about healing and enlightenment and being your better self. I think it's really, really interesting. Thanks for sharing your personal journey as well. It's been really wonderful talking to you. Keep you updated on how this healing session has gone.
Thank you, Jules, for having me here.
It's my pleasure. For all my listeners out there, if this is something that you feel your friends or family would be interested in hearing about, particularly if they would benefit from some sort of advice on healing and enlightenment or spirituality, please can you share this podcast with them? And if you could rate and review me on iTunes, that would be great, so that you'll move me up the iTunes charts and it will help people become more aware of the work that Lucy's doing out there to make changes in people's lives and help people, which is super wonderful. Thank you so much, Lucy.
Thank you, Jules. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, thank you. Hi, Confidants. I want to tell you about my Patreon page. I've joined Patreon in the hope of getting sponsorship for my Hong Kong Confidential podcast. Patreon is a great way for my listeners to get on board and sponsor me with monthly payments, and that goes towards my production costs and rewards for my members. If you're interested in checking out my Patreon page, please go to patreon.com and search up Jules Hannaford or Hong Kong Confidential. I would really appreciate you visiting my page. So that brings us to the end of another Hong Kong Confidential podcast. I'm Jules Hannaford. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you'll be with me again next week. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please can you go to iTunes to rate and review it. I would really appreciate your feedback. You can email me at jules@hongkongconfidential.net, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Hong Kong Confidential. If you'd like to hit me up on Twitter, it's at Jules Hannaford. I would love to hear from you.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.